Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome back to Formula Amateur, where today we'll be talking about the Belgian Grand Prix in Spa-Francochamps, and we are talking about the F3 results, we are talking about the F2 results, and the F1 results. We're talking about the first practices. There was only one first practice session for every formula, and every formula also had their sprints, and F3 did not have their race due to weather, but F2 and F1 did. F1 was disrupted a lot by the weather, with over an hour's delay, but we got there eventually. So let's talk about the Belgian Grand Prix. Okay, so let's first off start with Formula 3, and we are going to go into their practice session. Every formula in Belgium had one practice session before they went into qualifying, and then their sprints and their races, as it was a sprint weekend all across the three formulas that took part. We'll start from the top down to the bottom just because it's easier to read. So we had Boyer with 11 laps in first. Then we had Stenshorn with 10 laps in second. Then we had Del Pino in third with 11 laps. Then we had Ugachukwu with 12 laps in fourth. Then we had Inthrathuzaka in fifth with 10 laps. Then we had Niel in sixth with 11 laps. Then we had Benavides with 10 laps in seventh. Then we had Solov with 11 laps in eighth. Then we had Belinsky with 11 laps in ninth. Then we had Stromstead with 11 laps in 10th. Then we had Kamara with 11 laps in 11th. Then we had Tramnitz with 10 laps in 12th. Then we had Lyon with 12 laps in 13th. Then we had Voisin with 11 laps in 14th. Then we had Van Hopen in 15th with 11 laps. Then we had Justy with 10 laps in 16th. Then we had Slater with 10 laps in 17th. Then we had Ramos with 11 laps in 18th. Then we had Wharton with 11 laps in 19th. Then we had Badua with 12 laps in 20th. Then we had Tappanen with 9 laps in 21st. We had then Vers with 11 laps in 22nd. Then we had Lecorte with 11 laps in 23rd. We had G with 10 laps in 24th. We had Ho with 11 laps in 25th. We had Zagazeta with 11 laps in 26th. Then we had Sharp with 11 laps in 27th. Then we had Headley with 11 laps in 28th. Then we had Dominguez with 11 laps in 29th. And then we had Mariangeli with 11 laps in 30th. So now we go into qualifying. So in first position we had Benavides, he went up 6 positions. Then we had Kamara, who went up 9 positions in second. Then we had Voisin who went up 11 places in third. Then we had Belinsky, who went up 5 positions in fourth. Then we had Stenshorn, who went down 3 positions in fifth. Then we had Ugachukwu, who went down 2 positions in sixth. Then we had Solov, who went up 1 position in seventh. Then we had Infrafuvasak, who went down 3 positions into eighth. Then we had Vers, who went up 13 positions in ninth. Then we had Del Pino, who dropped 7 positions in 10th. Then we had Stromstead, who went down 1 position in 11th. Then we had Slater, who went up 5 positions in 12th. Then we had Tramnitz, who went down 1 position in 13th. Then we had Badua, who went up 6 positions into 14th. Then we had Lecorte, who went up 8 positions in 15th. Boyer, who dropped 15 positions in 16th. Then we had G, who went up 7 positions in 17th. Then we had Justy, who went down 2 positions in 18th. Then we had Van Hopen, who went down 4 positions in 19th. Then we had Wharton, who went down 1 position in 20th. Then we had Dominguez, Benavidez, who went up 8 positions in 21, and then we had Ho, who went up 3 positions in 22nd. Then we had Niel, who dropped 17 positions in 23rd. Then we had Sharp, who went up 3 positions in 24th. Then we had Ramos, who went down 7 positions in 25th. Zagazeta, who stayed in the same place in 26th. Then we had Leon, who dropped 14 positions in 27th. Then we had Headley, who stayed in 28th. Tappanen, who dropped 8 positions in 29th. And Marian Jelly stayed in 30th. So in F3, the sprint race reverses the top 12 drivers, as there are more of them than there are in F2 and F1, and the top 10 score points. So in this case, Benavidez would start 12th, Kamara would start 11th, Voisin would start 10th, Belinsky would start 9th, then Stenshorn would start 8th, Ugachukwu would start 7th, Solov would start 6th, Israfuz Vasak would start 5th, Verse would start 4th, Del Pino would start 3rd, Stromsted would start 2nd, and Slater would start 1st. And so in the sprint, the results were Stromsted won the race by gaining 1 position. Ugachukwu was in 2nd, Verse was in 3rd, Solov was in 4th, Kamara was in 5th, Israfuz Vasak was in 6th, and then Stenshorn was 7th, Del Pino was 8th, Badua was 9th, Justy was 10th, G was 11th, Tramnitz was 12th, Belinsky was 13th, Boyer was 14th, Leon was 15th, Lacorte was 16th, Niel was 17th, Voisin was 18th, Tappanen was 19th, and Benavidez was 20th, Wharton was 21st, Ramos was 22nd, Van Hopen was 23rd, Headley was 24th, Sharp was 25th, Slater was 26th, and then Mariangeli was 27th, Ho was 28th, Dominguez was 29th, and Zagazeta was the only one that had a crash and was in 30th. And just to let you know, the main race was cancelled due to the weather in Belgium due to torrential rain, so we'll get to the standings right now. So in first position overall since F3 began racing this season, we have Kamara with 126 points, followed by Solov with 98 points, Tramnitz with 93 points, Boyer with 85 points, Stenshorn with 80, and then we have Stromsted with 73, Niel with 58, Justy with 55, Tappanen with 52, Belinsky with 49, Voisin with 48, Ramos with 48, Van Hopen with 48, Infrofu Vasak with 38, Verse with 33, Ugachukwu with 31, Leon with 21, Wharton with 19, Dominguez with 18, Bedrin with 17, Ho with 17, Del Pino with 16, Sharp with 11, Slater with 10, Zagazeta with 6, Benavidez with 4, Badua with 2, and then Agi, Dufek, Lacorte, Carrasquedo, Sagrera, Headley, Johnson, Mariangeli, and Garfias are drivers who do not have any points this season. But in terms of the teams, Trident is on 232 points, Campos with 221 points, MP Motorsport with 164, Van Amersfoort Racing with 124, and then ART with 119, Rodin Motorsport with 108, High-Tech TGR with 80, Prima Racing with 54, AIX Racing with 31, and Dams Lucas Oil with 23 points. And now let's move on to Formula 2, where all of the races did take part, and in FP1, the only FP session that we had Dunn being the fastest and doing 11 laps, and then we had Mini with 15 laps in second, then we had Martin with 16 laps in third, Cordial with 11 laps in fourth, Crawford with 13 laps in fifth, Mayata Mayata with 17 laps in 6th, Verschoor with 15 laps in 7th, Lindblad with 15 laps in 8th, Dirksen with 15 laps in 9th, Stanek with 16 laps in 10th, Browning with 15 laps in 11th, Fornioli with 16 laps in 12th, and then Montoya with 15 laps in 13th, Megatunev with 15 laps in 14th, Bennett with 17 laps in 15th, Miney with 12 laps in 16th, Marty with 14 laps in 17th, Villagomez with 14 laps in 18th, Goethe with 13 laps in 19th, Esterson with 15 laps in 20th, Beganovic with 14 laps in 21st, and then Shields with 17 laps in 22nd. So how did they qualify? Well, Dunn qualified first, but in the sprint race he would be 10th as a result, and then in second we had, and Dunn stayed in the same place in qualifying. In second we had Mayata, who went up 4 positions, but he would be starting 9th in the reverse grid for the sprint. And then Stanek qualified 3rd, so he would be 8th in the sprint. He went up 7 positions. Then we had Martin qualifying for the race in 4th, so he would be starting in 7th, and he went down 1 position. Then Lindblad qualified in 5th for the main race, so he would be starting in 6th for the sprint. Marty qualified 6th, so he would be starting 5th in the sprint race. Lindblad went up 3 positions and Marty went up 11 positions. And then Fornioli qualified 7th, so he would be starting 4th, and he went up 5 positions. And then Mini qualified for the main race in 8th. He dropped 6 positions and would start in 3rd. And then in 9th we had Cordeal, who would start the race in 2nd, but overall he dropped 5 positions. And then we had Goethe, who went up 9 positions, qualified 10th for the main race, and would start 1st in the sprint race. And then in 11th we had Verschoor, who dropped 4 positions. In 12th we had Browning, who dropped 1 position. Then we had Beganovic, who went up 8 positions in 13th. In 14th we had Crawford, who dropped 9 positions. Then Bennett stayed in the same place in 15th. Montoya dropped 3 positions in 16th. Esterson went up 3 positions in 17th. Villagomez stayed in 18th. Megatunev dropped 5 positions in 19th. Maney dropped 4 positions in 20th. Dirksen dropped 12 positions in 21st. And then Shields stayed in the same place in 22nd. So for the sprint race, as I said, it'd be Goethe, Cordeal, Mini, Fornioli, Marty, Lindblad, Martin, Stanek, Mayata, Dunn, Verschoor, Browning, Beganovic, Crawford, Bennett, Montoya, Esterson, Villagomez, Megatunev, Miney, Dirksen and Shields. But the sprint result was, so Fornioli won the race. He gained 3 positions to where he started, and then Martin gained 5 positions, he finished in 2nd, and then Mini gained 0 positions but finished in 3rd. Goethe dropped 3 positions and finished in 4th. Marty stayed in the same place in 5th. Stanek gained 2 positions in 6th. Dunn gained 3 positions in 7th. Mayata gained 1 position in 8th. Lindblad lost 3 positions in 9th. Bennett gained 5 positions in 10th. Crawford gained 3 positions in 11th. And then Dirksen gained 9 positions in 12th. Shields gained 9 positions in 13th. Esterson gained 3 positions in 14th. Montoya gained 1 position in 15th. Beganovic lost 3 positions in 16th. Villagomez gained 1 position in 17th. Megatunev gained 1 position in 18th. Cordeal crashed and as a result lost 17 positions in 19th. Miney had an issue with his car and as a result DNF'd but without crashing, but stayed in the same position in 20th. Verschoor also had a crash between himself and Browning, and as a result dropped 10 positions because he couldn't finish the race and finished in 21st, and Browning was the first one to be out of the race, dropping 10 positions as well, finishing in 22nd as he crashed out on turn 1, lap 1. On to the F2 feature race, where we had Dunn in the first position and he gained 6 places, and then gained 6 positions in terms of comparison to the sprint, but stayed in the same place where he qualified. Then Lindblad was second, but within the last few minutes of this recording, his race result for the feature race was disqualified as a result of his tyre pressure not being in line with the regulations. But in the race he did finish second, so everyone below him gained 1 position. So Stanek finished the race in 3rd, Miata finished the race in 4th, Browning finished the race in 5th, Marti finished the race in 6th, Fornioli finished the race in 7th, Mini finished the race in 8th, Bogdanovic finished the race in 9th, Martin finished the race in 10th, and Cordial finished the race in 11th, Dirksen finished the race in 12th, Bennett finished the race in 13th, Goethe finished in 14th, Villagomez finished in 15th, Megatunev finished the race in 16th, Esterson finished the race in 17th, Crawford finished the race in 18th, Verschoor finished the race in 19th, Shields finished the race in 20th, Miney finished the race in 21st, and Montoya was the only one who had a DNF, and this was 2 laps before the race actually finished. He crashed on lap 17 and finished the race in 22nd, so everyone gained 1 position, and Lindblad technically overall finished the race in 22nd as a result of all of this. So now we're talking about the F2 standings in Spa, and this is pre the announcement of Lindblad's disqualification. So Dan is on 137 points, followed by Verschoor, who has 122, Fornioli with 121, Crawford with 116, Browning with 108, Lindblad with 102, Marti with 81, Montoya with 72, Martin with 61, Stanek with 47, Bogdanovic with 46, Mini with 31, Miney with 26, Dirksen with 23, Beata with 19, Goethe with 17, Villagomez with 11, Cordial with 2, Megatunev with 2, Bennett, Esterson and Shields with none. And in terms of teams, Campos has 183, Invicta has 168, High Tech has 154, Dams Lucas Oil has 142, Rodin has 139, MP has 139 as well, Prima has 103, Art Grand Prix has 80, AIX has 23, VAR Van Amersfoort Racing has 11, and then Trident has 2 points. Now let's talk about F1, where there are no reverse grids, so no more confusion for the Spa 2025 results. So we'll start from the bottom to the top, as we always do with Formula 1. So in 20th we had Behrman, who did 22 laps. In 19th we had Colapinto with 21 laps. In 18th we had Tsunoda with 23 laps. In 17th we had Gasly with 21 laps. In 16th we had Ocon with 22 laps. Lawson with 21 laps in 15th. Hulkenberg with 20 laps in 14th. Bortoleto with 25 laps in 13th. Albon with 24 laps in 12th. Sainz with 16 laps in 11th. Hadjar with 19 laps in 10th. Alonso with 22 laps in 9th. Stroll with 17 laps in 8th. Hamilton with 24 laps in 7th. Antonelli with 23 laps in 6th. Leclerc with 22 laps in 5th. Russell with 27 laps in 4th. Norris with 22 laps in 3rd. Verstappen with 23 laps in 2nd. And Piastri topping the chart in 1st with 23 laps. On to sprint quali then, where in 20th we had Antonelli, who dropped 14 positions in comparison to the practice session. And then in 19th we had Colapinto, who had a pit lane start and stayed in the same place in 19th. Hamilton dropped 11 positions in 18th. Hulkenberg dropped 3 positions in 17th. Albon dropped 4 positions in 16th. Stroll dropped 7 positions in 15th. Alonso dropped 5 positions in 14th. Russell dropped 9 positions in 13th. Tsunoda gained 6 positions in 12th. Lawson gained 4 positions in 11th. Bortoleto gained 3 positions in 10th. Hadjar gained 1 position in 9th. Gasly gained 9 positions in 8th. Behrman gained 13 positions in 7th. Sainz gained 5 positions in 6th. Ocon gained 11 positions in 5th, Leclerc gained 1 position in 4th, Norris stayed in 3rd, Verstappen stayed in 2nd, and Piastri stayed in 1st. So how did the sprint end up looking like in terms of the results? Well, this is how it went. Gasly, who was at the bottom of the charts because he simultaneously managed to have a did not start and a did not finish, which is unusual because if you did not start, surely you obviously didn't finish because you did not start. But he did not start when everyone else started, then he started 2 laps later and then retired before the race actually ended. And as a result, he qualified 8th but started 20th and failed to make any changes to his result from there on. It was a strange strategy from Alpine. They were mainly just testing things out, and all of this is because he had a water leak that had to be fixed and could not be fixed on time. So then in 19th we once again have Colapinto, who once again did not move from that position, and then Hülkenberg lost 1 position and was in 18th. Antonelli gained 3 positions and was in 17th. Albon stayed in 14th, and then Hamilton gained 3 positions in 15th. Alonso stayed in 14th. Stroll gained 2 positions in 13th. Russell gained 1 position in 12th. Tsunoda gained 1 position in 11th. Lawson gained 1 position in 10th. Bortoleto gained 1 position in 9th. Hadjar gained 1 position in 8th. Behrman stayed in 7th. Sainz stayed in 6th. Ocon stayed in 5th. Leclerc stayed in 4th. Norris stayed in 3rd. Piastri lost 1 position and finished 2nd, and then Verstappen took the win, gaining 1 position. So let's talk about the qualification session for the main race in Belgium. So in 20th position we have Lance Stroll. He lost 7 positions, and then we have in 19th Alonso, who would start from the pits. But he lost 5 positions compared to where he finished in the sprint. In 18th we had Antonelli, who would also start in the pit lane for the race, and he lost 1 position. Colapinto gained 2 positions in 17th, and then Hamilton would start from the pit lane, losing 1 position in 16th. Sainz would start from the pit lane, and he lost 9 positions in 15th. Hülkenberg gained 4 positions in 14th. Gasly gained 7 positions in 13th. Behrman lost 5 positions and was in 12th. Ocon lost 6 positions and was in 11th. Bortoleto lost 1 position and was in 10th. Lawson gained 1 position in 9th. Hadjar stayed in 8th. Tsunoda gained 4 positions in 7th. Russell gained 6 positions in 6th. Albon gained 11 positions in 5th. Verstappen lost 3 positions in 4th. Leclerc gained 1 position in 3rd. Piastri stayed in 2nd, and then Norris gained 2 positions, qualifying 1st for the race in Belgium. And now on to the race, where we had in 20th Hadjar losing 12 positions. Not sure what happened there, but it was just not his day for him. Maybe it's because who knows. Spa's meant to be relaxing. This one was not relaxing for him, evidently. So he lost 12 positions, and then in 19th, surprise, we have Colapinto, who lost 2 positions. In 18th, Sainz, not sure what went on there, but he did not have a good race either, losing 3 positions. He did not have a good weekend in general, apart from the sprint qualifying and the sprint itself. And then Alonso gained 2 positions. He was in 17th. Antonelli gained 2 positions in 16th. Ocon lost 4 positions in 15th. Stroll gained 6 positions in 14th. Tsunoda lost 6 positions in 17th. Hülkenberg gained 2 positions in 12th. Behrman gained 1 position in 11th. Gasly gained 3 positions in 10th. Bortoleto gained 1 position in 9th. Lawson gained 1 position in 8th. Hamilton gained 9 positions in 7th and was driver of the day. Albon lost 1 position in 6th. Russell gained 1 position in 5th. Verstappen stayed in 4th. Leclerc stayed in 3rd. Norris lost 1 position and finished 2nd, and then Piastri won the race and gained gained 1 position. And notably, nobody crashed throughout the whole weekend. It was shocking. People spun, but nobody had a difficult race in terms of DNFing, crashing into walls, crashing into other people. The only issue that really happened was Gasly, but that was a water leak. It was not related to any contact with another driver or a wall. So let's get into the side stuff, or as I've called it in other formulas, the standings, but for Formula 1 we will keep it as side stuff. And so Piastri is once again in first position, as he has been for a very long time now, with 266 points, followed by Norris in second with 250, and then Verstappen with 185, Russell with 157 in fourth, Leclerc in fifth with 139, Hamilton with 109 in sixth, Antonelli with 63 in seventh, Albon with 54 in 8th, Hulkenberg in 9th with 37, Ocon with 27 points in 10th, Hadjar with 22 points in 11th, Gasly with 20 points in 12th, Stroll with 20 points in 13th, and then Lawson with 16 points in 14th, Alonso with 16 points in 15th, Sainz with 16 points in 16th, Tsunoda with 10 points in 17th, Behrman with 8 points in 18th, Bortoleto with 6 points in 19th, Colapinto with 0 points still in 20th, and then Doohan, as I always keep repeating, is not currently driving and is also on 0 points. And then in terms of teams, McLaren still topping the chart, 516 points, with Ferrari halfway down their point scoring with 248, and then Mercedes with 220 points in third, Red Bull with 192 points in fourth, Williams with 70 points in fifth, Kick Sauber with 43 points in sixth, Racing Bulls with 41 points in seventh, Aston Martin with 36 points in eighth, Haas with 35 points in ninth, and then Alpine with 20 points. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Formula Amateur. I hope you're enjoying these race rundowns, these Monday episodes, and I hope you're okay with me adding more than just Formula 1 into this. I want to give equal opportunity for people to hear about the results in F2, F3 and F1 Academy, although F1 Academy did not take part in the Belgian Grand Prix this week, which is why they did not get a mention, but they will be back during the Grand Prix in the Netherlands. And I hope you enjoyed this. Please check out my lovely colleagues on the Be the Change Media Network and BeTheChangeMediaNetwork.com website for all of your key information and merch. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you on Saturday. Goodbye. Also, the Hungary Grand Prix is next weekend, so get ready.